Boxing fans, we had a treat last night. Fury Wilder. And in my prior assessment, it looks like I was pretty close to accurate on how it would turn out. Wilder was not ready for Fury. Obviously. He came out the first round boxing. He came out using his jab, sticking it long, sticking it to the body. One thing he did when he did stick it, he bladed himself a lot, which is fine. But when you do that, I'm going to keep the right hand here, okay? So that you can turn it over a lot quicker. He was reaching back. That right hand was a lot longer than it needed to be, and it took a lot more time to get to the target. If you'll notice, if you replay the film of him throwing that right hand, it wasn't a snapping 1-2, it was a jab, a long right hand. Now, Fury's defense wasn't what it was in the second fight. He's getting hit with it a lot more than he should have, and that made it a competitive fight. But when Wilder started with his jab, it may have won him the round. Fury was able to control the distance, like I said before. Controlling the range controls the fight. And he was able to feint Wilder into a defensive position in which Wilder doesn't have a defense for the jab. He has zero defense for the jab. He doesn't catch it. Okay, the basic defense for left jab is the right hand here, and you're able to catch it right here, and you also have to see the hook. This defense takes time. It takes a long time to implement it, and you have to work on it on the mitts with a coach, and you also have to work on it at sparring. To become a great defender of such punch, I'll start with the jab. You have to see a lot of jabs. You have to defend a lot of jabs. Wilder's an offensive guy. He doesn't, and you can see what he's doing in sparring. He's not working on his defense. He's not making guys miss. Okay, another way to take care of the jab is to slip, take your head off of the center line there, or bend under it. You know what I mean? Consistent head movement disrupts that jab. Now, a smart jabber is going to bring that jab right here to the chest, but we can deal with that later. Number one is get your head out of the way, and Wilder can't even do that. Number two, or another defense for the jab is to pull on the back foot. You pull the back foot. Okay, you create the distance between yourself and the punch, making the punch fall short of the target. Okay, there's numerous ways to defend a jab, and if all else fails, you could just go both hands high. And I don't recommend this defense, but I've seen guys do it to where both hands are high and you're catching one punch with two hands, just because you're so desperate to not get hit. Wilder didn't even practice that skill. Okay, his jab defense was catching it with his head, and that's not going to work. So that's the biggest takeaway I had. And when he boxed around with the jab. The first round he came out, boxed well. He was the offensive guy. Fury took a minute to figure him out, and once he did, he established control of by feinting him and by moving his feet to put Wilder on the defensive. So by round three, he dropped Wilder, and he could have really finished him there, but instead he decided to walk into the guy without using his jab. He actually squared his shoulders, brought both his hands up high. I'm trying to hold my phone and do this at the same time. It's hard, but okay, so both hands were here, and he basically dared Wilder to throw the right hand. Wilder didn't. It knocked him down. So it's the reason the fight took so long was really, that's Fury's fault, because he didn't capitalize on a hurt guy when he had him in round 3 and 4, and he put himself in a vulnerable position to get knocked down, and then he had to recover from himself being hurt. So it was a good fight. It was great for fans. But over, rounds 5 through 10, you saw, Wilder land right hands and, at times, but miss a lot of them. But ultimately, Fury took control of the bout like I predicted he would, only because I know that to implement a boxing strategy to outmaneuver a guy, to outscore him, and to put him on the defensive, it takes time. It's not going to be an immediate transition from one fight to the next, okay? That's going to take tune-ups. That's going to take a lot of work in the gym. I mean, because what we're really talking about here is changing your approach to the game. Wilder has a very offensive approach to boxing, and it's worked well for him, but when he can't hurt a guy or he can't land his power shots, he doesn't have anything else to go off of. He doesn't have a jab. He doesn't have that ring generalship to make a guy miss and make him pay. Fury didn't really look that good to me, but I mean, his natural skills are so much better that he was able to wear him down and ultimately stop him in the 10th round. But you know, I kind of figured that's what would happen. But like I said, and I'm not sitting here saying I told you so, because it was a much more grueling fight than I anticipated. But I did expect Fury to capitalize, ultimately stop Wilder. Wilder got gassed early on. You could see how he was exhausted, and that's what happens when you miss a lot of right hands. When you load up on every punch, your tank burns out a lot quicker. You know what I mean? Your fuel tank, that is. So, you know, I don't know what's next for these guys. I heard something on one of the YouTube things where I guess it sounded like Wilder was not willing to shake hands or something. I don't know. I guess he's not gonna. I mean, how you gonna grieve the loss? You got beat. There's no two ways about it. But I mean, I think you should at least shake the guy's hand. I mean, you went 10 rounds of grueling, historic boxing with the guy. You know, you guys made history last night. It was a great fight. It didn't end up how you wanted it, but that's how it goes. That's boxing, man. You got to humble yourself a little bit, but, you know, whatever. Regardless of how people feel, reality made itself known last night, and we all saw it, you know, throughout the whole world. So Tyson Fury is the greatest heavyweight in the world right now. That's pretty much unquestionable. If you question it, then you're just, I mean, at this point, you're just a skeptic and trying to delegitimize the guy, probably because you're a hater. But we got to tip our hat right now. If Tyson Fury he's the top dog in boxing. He's the greatest heavyweight in the world as of this moment. That's not to say he can't get beat, but right now, Fury's the man, you know? And we need to appreciate moments like this in history, because getting fights like that, as we've seen through the Klitschko era and, you know, former generations between the Tyson Holyfields and all that we had kind of a dead time in boxing, in heavyweight boxing, you know? Last night really brought it back to life, and we need to enjoy these moments. I don't know who Fury fights next. I don't know who can really give him a challenge, but you know, there's always somebody out there. Believe me on that. So, what a night of boxing, man! What a night of boxing. Wilder, hats off to him. He's a warrior. He dug down deep to get up and keep fighting. He just didn't have enough at the end, but you know, that guy should take some time off and really go to school on a lot of the fundamentals that he doesn't have in his game right now, because he could really be a much higher level fighter than he is with that power. He has tremendous power. There's no doubt about that, but it's a lot of work that can be done to you know, to fundamentally shape him up a lot more. It's going to take some humbling. You got to humble yourself, and you're going to have to realize that you've gotten by on your power for so long, and you ran into a wall. You ran into somebody that you couldn't knock out. We all do at some point, you know. I mean, I was a good puncher. I knocked a lot of guys out, but at some point you come across guys that you can't get out of there. So you got to have something else on the table, and you got to have the ability to box, the ability to survive, the ability to make guys miss, the ability to put rounds in the bank. And it doesn't seem Wilder has another asset to his game at this point. So we'll see where he goes from here. Hopefully he gets in the gym and he tried to do it. He tried to go out there and box, but you know, that lasted about a round, and then by the time Fury was able to figure out his rhythm, you know, Wilder couldn't outbox him anymore because it's just too much. There's too many different things that Fury's doing to offset him. I mean, from the feints to the movement, you know, to just establishing his jab that you can't defend. You have to be able to defend that jab. And especially at the championship level, you really have to be able to defend a simple jab. I think that's all I got for right now. I got more. I mean, I could really break this down, but it'll take a while. That's basically what we got from last night. Talked to a few people. I'm starting to enjoy this because I'm getting people starting to look forward to my my take on things. So I appreciate it. Thank you all out there. A good friend of mine, Manuel Sanchez, hit me up yesterday. Another friend, Jeff Shanafi, man, these guys are hitting me up like, hey, man, where's your take? Hey, man, I'm going to get it to you. Let me put it out. So I appreciate that. I hope more people jump on here and support me and support boxing as a whole and whatever else we could do. Hands up, chin down. Wilder should have wrote that down yesterday, hands up and chin down. Instead, he had the chin up and hands down. So those two are not interchangeable. But thank you again. I hope to see everybody soon. There's more big fights coming up, and I'm looking forward to them. I'm going to break down Canelo, Caleb Plant here within the coming weeks. I want it to get a little bit closer to fight night, but I want to really watch some tape on Caleb Plant so that I know more of his habits and his natural reactions to things in the ring so that I can really break it down and see it. I don't know if he's got a chance, but I'm going to come with an opinion here soon once I study some tape. So thank you. Look for that, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again. Hands up, chin down.